There is one product on Etsy that is making sellers over 50K a month, and it's not just one seller, there are multiple sellers. With that being said, that is revenue, but the profit margins on this product are very high. Today, we are deep diving into a tutorial on how to create a product with Printify, print on demand, and Kittl. I'm going to give you the full A to Z walkthrough. So if you haven't already, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and comment down below to support this channel. Also, any of the softwares I'm showing in this video, you can get in the links in the description down below. But besides that, we're going to hop right into it. Going on to my laptop here, I am just going to type in blankets. So blankets are the product that I found is doing over 50K months on Etsy. I could not believe it. There is a seller who's doing 60K months. So when I click into the product analytics on Everbee Chrome extension, this is the Chrome extension I have that shows on the left-hand side of my screen here. So you can get Everbee for free in the links down below. They do have other plans where you can get unlimited searches. I highly recommend doing that when you first start off, just to get a lot of market research under your belt to know what sells and what doesn't as time goes on. But besides that, one of my favorite features of Everbee is I like to go under product analytics and then I will click search entire database. Is it database or database? I know it's also dependent on different regions people live in. I don't know why, but the play on words always gets me. So not like it matters. It has no point in this video. So now that we analyzed all of the listings, so we can see how many monthly sales these listings are doing, the monthly revenue, the total sale volumes. This is just mind-blowing to me how many sales these Etsy sellers are doing. And you will notice that during this video, I have basically everything blurred out. This is just to protect the IP of the sellers. If you get the Chrome extension, you can completely look at all of the searches that I'm doing as well. But just to protect the sellers, we have had problems with copycats on YouTube as far as when I show a shop and I'm showing how these shops are creating their designs and their SEO and everything. What has happened to these shops is a lot of people are copying everything that they've ever done and their IP. So I really do value and try to protect their IP the best I can. Hence why everything is pretty much blurred out in this video. But besides that, so as we could see, we have one seller doing 60K a month in revenue, 55K in revenue a month, 48K, 44K, 40,000. And if we look, the listing age, this one that's doing 60K months, 11 months old. We have another one that's 6 months old doing 44K a month. So this is just proof that you can do this in any year. You can start in a market that you may not think that you have any chance or shot in. There are a lot of newer shops who are entering into the competition. So as far as total sale volumes go, we see 21,000 sales in the entirety of selling this listing in 11 months. So if we did the math on that, the average price of this listing is $31 and the total sales is 21,435. So that's $664,000 plus that this seller has made in the past year on Etsy in revenue. So let's figure out the profit here. So if we go to Printify and we look up blankets, so I'm just gonna give you guys a pricing guesstimate on how much profit they're making. So usually velveteen plush blankets is one of the best sellers. This is what a lot of sellers on Etsy are using in their print-on-demand businesses. So if they do not have Printify Premium, that's $13.43. But if you're selling almost 2,000 blankets a month, I would have Printify Premium because it's going to save you over $3 per blanket that you sell. So that's one thing to note. If you end up selling these in high volumes, usually over like 20 blankets, I would get Printify Premium to save you some extra cash. If we take 10 or let's just do the higher number. We'll do the higher number. So 13.43 minus 31. So that is $17.57. Now that's not including the Etsy transaction fees, which is 6.5%, and then a 20-cent listing fee, another 20-cent relisting fee. And then if we add in, usually there is processing fees, which is close to 3%, or if they're running ads on these listings, those are things that are out of our scope of putting in our profit. So 31 times the 0.065 is $2.15 of Etsy transaction fee they're getting taken out. And then if it's 31 times, let's say the processing fee, that's 93 cents. And then let's say that they get minus the 0.40 cents as well. So that's $14.22 the seller is making, which that's incredibly good profit margins. If we take that and we multiply that by 21,435, that is $304,000 in profit that the seller has made in the past 11 months. How mind-blowing is that this seller is making that much on Etsy off of one listing? They have multiple listings in their shop. They are selling well over a few hundred listings. They've been selling on Etsy since 2020, so that is almost 3 years. So if we really think about that, that's a short period of time that the seller has hit multiple millions of dollars in their shop as far as revenue goes, and just being able to make a very solid profit online with just this one listing. So with that being said, I hope this has convinced a lot of people to go into this one product category. But now that we kind of have the profit margins set up, we figured out, okay, so this seller is making really big bucks on this listing. And let's say we wanted to go into this type of niche. So the main niche that I'm seeing that really sells well is just personalized blankets for kids. So in this video, I wanted to show how I would create a personalization template quite easily. A lot of these templates are very, very simple. It's just a name repeated, and that's basically it. So with that being said, we're going to go on to Kittl and we're going to create just a personalization template that we can put onto Printify. What I would recommend is ordering samples of blankets from Printify so you can take pictures and upload those onto your Etsy listings. I think that's the best way to do mockups for this niche. You can purchase mockups on Etsy as well, but a lot of the sellers I've seen on the platform, they usually just take their own pictures because then you can really see the vibrancy of the blankets. And Printify has really good printing with these blankets. I have ordered a few samples myself. The colors, however, do look a little bit different because the color that you select is going to change per type of blanket that you're ordering. So without further ado, we're going to click into the Printify product of the Velveteen plush blanket. If you are going to select a print provider, there are a lot of print providers who offer the Velveteen plush blanket, which is considered a minky blanket. So you'll see this as Velveteen minky blanket and then Velveteen plush blanket. I know that on Printify, they collect data from Shopify stores, eBay stores, and Etsy stores. So when it has this bestseller badge, that's a good indicator to me that this is a product that I will want to use for my shop. There are other providers such as Pick the Gift as well, who are really good and they offer high quality prints too. I personally just like using the print provider Spoke Custom, which I know is underneath this product on Printify. So I am going to use Spoke for this. Now, when I'm going to design for a blanket, let's say that you're not doing a pattern blanket, you can do your dimensions 50 inches by 60 inches or 30 inches by 40 inches. What I would suggest is doing the larger, so 50 by 60, just so that you have the correct DPI and it comes out as a high resolution print. Now, you can also do just an SVG download, so it's scalable and you don't have to worry about that as well. But outside of that, I did want to show what I would do for a personalization repeated pattern. So if I'm creating a template in Kittl, I would go to just a new project. And what I personally like to do for my projects is I like doing my height half of my width for a personalization text. So I'm doing one 200 by 600 just for this example, and I'm going to create from there. So when I add in a text, I'm going to add in a headline here. And what I like to do is, first of all, I'm going to find the font of my choice before we go any further, just because dependent on my font, that's going to create how many characters we can add into this line of text, and then how many characters we can allow people to put in on Etsy as well. So when we're looking at the different typefaces and fonts, I do sometimes really love this like Sunny Drop font on Kittl. Kittl just has so many fun fonts to use, and I really do recommend looking at all of their fonts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a lot larger here for this personalization. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to count out 12 characters, and we will adjust the font size depending on how many characters we can have in here. So the reason why I count out 12 characters is just for when people input their personalization, you want to have a maximum that they can enter, or else sometimes you may get people asking for 3 different names in one area, which they can do if you offer that. But just to make it very simple for a customer, I like to make sure we have 12. So we already have 8 characters here. So all I have to do is add in 4 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and that is about the amount of space we have. So I am going to make this a little bit smaller. Again, I'm just trying to fit this in just so this is a template we can reuse over and over and over again, basically. And then from there, I am going to center this all the way. And I'm very happy with that. So now that we have this complete as far as the text that we want, let's say this is a gift for a kid, then we can just make up, maybe this is for Annalise. What's really cool about Kittl is with our personalizations, we can make these very unique. There's a lot of effects we could do with Kittl, and one of the effects that I want to do for this video is just doing a transformation instead of an effect. So if I wanted to just distort this, I could just make this super fun, and so it's groovy and it's kind of retro on a blanket. And then when customers add in their names, we can go back and edit this template so that we can play around and add in any name. So let's say that the name is Elizabeth. So we could just add it in, and then it will auto distort everything the way we initially put it into Kittl. So I'm going to go back to Annalise. What I could do as well is I could make this kind of fun and do a border, and then we could take out the inside too and have it repeated like that. This is basically what I would do for a personalization, and then we can export, we can download the design. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove background, optimize quality. I'm going to change the DPI to 300. That's generally the DPI I like to stick within. And then I'm going to download for digital use with a PNG. Now, when I go over to Printify, I could just drop that in, and I'm going to change the background color so we could see it. So this is what's really nice on Printify is we can change and select really any color that we want. What I recommend is sticking to CMYK colors. So if we did CMYK color picker, so Google has its own CMYK color picker, which is kind of really cool and fun to play with. So if we wanted to do, let's do like a mauve color, then I'm going to copy this, and then I'm just going to paste it in here. And then we have the background color that we want here. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a pattern. Now, the way that this pattern is shaped, this is not something I personally would do because it's just very on top of each other, and we want it to kind of not be so perfect, so to speak. So I'm going to do a brick horizontal here. You can also do brick vertical. It's really your preference. I personally just like the brick vertical. And then we can change the offset, so we can make it farther apart, we can make it less apart. It's really up to your, again, preference here. Also to note, if let's say that we want the vertical spacing to be less, we can edit it this way, we can make it more. So you can kind of play around with a lot of these just to see what makes sense for the name. So if you have a longer character name, let's say it's 12 characters of a name, then you might want to add in more space between the names, but that's just an example of what I would do. So then if I go to preview, then we'll see that Annalise, the preview, it looks so pretty and cute. And like I said, these print just so well. I cannot say enough how pretty the prints are. Also, when you upload, let's say you use the mockups that Printify has, I would recommend doing the realistic CMYK colors again, because that's the printer and the printing method that you're going to get. There are a lot of really great mockups on Etsy you can purchase as well that I would look into. But again, this is a product that I would usually suggest and recommend buying your own. I don't recommend that often, but I think buying your own and taking a picture of all of the colors and shades that you're offering in your shop together is a really great way to go about that. Outside of that, I'm going to save this product. I am not logged into my Printify shop where you're blurring all this, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to push this through and show how to turn on personalization as well, because I know that's a common question I get a lot on my channel, is how in the world do you turn on personalization for a listing like this? So I'm going to show that, and that's pretty much it. So now that we're in the velveteen plush blanket that we just made, so the type of SEO that I would do for this is personalized kids blanket, personalized baby blanket. I wouldn't repeat personalized twice though, so I will show just an example of how I would write this. So I would put personalized baby blanket, and then I will keep in, I may put minky. We have velveteen plush. We don't need to repeat blanket since we already have that. And then I would put, so I'm kind of character stuffing and title stuffing here just so we get some really good SEO in. We have personalized girl, boy, blanket. We have blanket a few times that we really don't need. So maybe I'll put throw. I might put throw here instead of blanket, just in case someone puts throw instead of blanket. And then I'm going to type in personalization as well, just because there's two ways. You could say personalized or personalization. So now after we have the title in here, I am going to scroll down to personalization area. We can click add personalization, and what I generally put, since we counted 12 characters out, I will put in enter in first and optional middle name, maximum of 12 characters. And then let's say that you can add in the shades all by themselves. So you can take the SKUs and add in options, or you could add in a photo card of all of the color selections as well that you can create off of that CMYK color picker. So you can also say, put in second line your color shade of choice. So you can also put this in the personalization area, or you can make that as a SKU instead. Since this is a personalization listing, you don't have to have SKUs involved because you're going to be doing that customization anyways when the orders come through. This is essentially what I would do personally. So if I had SKUs, I would just add a variation and I would do primary colors so we can add in colors. So let's say that we're having maybe our own colors that we're naming. So we could do mauve since we have mauve already. Maybe we have turquoise we wanted to add. So I'll just add the custom option of turquoise. I'll do purple. And now I'm going to click on done, and we can change our SKUs here. So I might just put SKUs vary. And then this is where you go to Printify, add in your SKUs. So for the sake of this video, I'm just adding in, oops, I can't spell today, mauve. We'll do turquoise, and then we'll do purple. And then when these orders come through Printify, they will show up in Printify under the orders and then other orders tab. So under the other orders tab, the order will populate. Then you can pull it through. You will click into that order. You can select product, and then you would select that maybe velveteen plush blanket, the 50 to 60 size if that's their option. So the other thing to note is if you're offering two sizes, because for this example, I'm only offering one, you will need to add in the size as a variation too. So So let's say we are doing just the size, we can add that in, and then we could do 50 inches by 60 inches, and we will add, then we will do 30 by 40 inches, and we will add, and then we will click done. We will click apply. So now we have that all added to our listing, and the personalization is pretty much done. After that, we will publish, and I just want to show you how this listing will look like once finished. So if we view on Etsy, then we could see that we have the option of the primary colors, we have the sizes, and then we have the personalization down below as well. So this gives our customer a lot of insight. I would change the main mock-up photo to maybe one of these instead, though. I will say that just until maybe you get a Etsy mock-up and do a mock-up that you purchased on Etsy as your main mock-up photo, or you can also, again, order samples and take pictures of the samples and have that as the main mock-up photo. But besides that, guys, that is it for this tutorial today. I hope this was a lot of insight on how to create for this specific product and how to do a personalization listing on Etsy. We did not do tags and description. I do have other videos on tags and description writing and things like that. I would recommend. I will link it at this point of the video of a SEO guide. With that being said, guys, this is it for this video. If you have any questions, drop them down below. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, and I will see everyone in the next video here. Easy to create, and these, sorry, I'm going to repeat that. So we have already we have 8 the. So now that we're on our listing and we have the velveteen plush blanket, I cannot speak for my life today. I cannot speak for my life.